Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff. Anyway, these are my fruit trees. They're orange, lemon, and lime. Mostly indoor, living at the bottom of the Sierra Nevadas. They just had snow. So, yeah, a bit of a cold snap. So these guys can't go out until it's at least 50 degrees at night, but they will. They'll get to explore the outdoors for the summer and then come back in. They were like 8 inches high last fall when I got them. One is a lemon, one is an orange, as you can tell, and one's a lime. And all their leaves are, you can make tea out of them, and they have medicinal properties in them. And you can look that up yourself. And they're super nice to have in the winter. Eventually I'll have to put them on rollers. They'll be so big. And roll them in and out. Or hopefully I'll have some type of makeshift greenhouse. And then I can roll them in and out. They're just completely lovely. And they're just amazing. And I can't even tell you like how loaded my little orange tree is. And so I took some oranges off. You can see the one I ate. And I'm so excited because they have seeds. Look. That is so exciting. A lot of fruit, the seeds have been removed so that you can't propagate them. So how do I know that they're more kind of heirloom type plants? Is because of the seeds. So I'm just super excited about the whole thing. And they're just amazing. They've just really kind of lightened my life and made me extremely happy. So today I'm going, they're still a little bit bitter. My poor orange tree, she's really having a hard time, but man, she's a super producer. So I took a few off and I'm going to take the rinds off. Look how much juice is in them just by picking them and pressing on them. Just full. Yum. So I'm going to cut them up and steep them with some, probably I'm going to do peppermint and maybe lemon balm. I still have some of that fresh that's growing. And then chop up my little oranges and the rinds and everything and put them into the tea. And it'll be fantastic. So I wanted to talk to you kind of today, or talk to the world, or talk to the AI, or talk to wherever this goes on YouTube. So when I was 23, I was involved with the Lakota Sioux medicine woman for a year who was out of this world. And I've talked about her previously. And I think I talked about this whole fairy tale concept on my radio show. I'm not really sure if I've ever talked about it on my YouTube channel. But one of the kind of insider people, contacts that I was involved with was a man who was an older guy through her. And because I was new to the area, you know, I would connect with some of the people that knew her. These people had, you know, two sides. They were working in the system, but at the second time they were very aware and intuitive, and also had completely separate belief systems, but were very good at portraying what the system wanted them to portray. But personally, they were authentic and had a different set of thinking and emotions and how they, live their life. And so, fairy tale syndrome. Anyway, we used to meet at a pub periodically, and I liked him because I grew up poor, went to school in small towns that didn't really offer a lot of education. And then when I grew up, I realized through, different things that I probably had an extremely high IQ. So, way more intelligent than most. So I early on, really never really took a lot personally. I really always loved, probably why I was so good at radio and TV was that I just loved talking to people. I loved talking to them and exploring facets and details of their life, their experience, their education, their knowledge. And so I was like that when I was 23. So anyway, I would meet at the pub and we would have a pint or two and we would have these lengthy, amazing debates. This man was a professor at a private law school in Washington, which was Gonzaga University. Brilliant. But on the side, he was very intuitive, mystical, self-realized, and just critically, a really amazing critical thinker about reality. One of the things that he said to me one time was that we had this whole debate that actually really changed, was one of those moments that really changed the fabric of my reality. He said, you have fairy tale syndrome. And so we dived deep into this whole dialogue and conversation. And the gist of it was, you've been trained, your predictive programming. Mind you, I'm 50, I'll be 55 this year. So this is 32 years ago. Gosh, I can't believe it. This is seems that long ago. And these people back then were the catalyst for the direction that my life went to and took to. And the questioning of why I believe everything. Why is that? And how do I assimilate experience versus belief, truth versus fiction, or some of my favorite books are, what was it? Truth versus Force. There was a guy who wrote the most amazing Power versus Force. That guy was amazing and brilliant that wrote those books, and that I started reading back, I think in the 80s. So these people that I met when I was 23 on this journey for that year were catalysts in Power versus Force, Truth versus Fiction. Who am I? Where am I? And all of those kinds of, pathways. So the gist of our conversation boiled down to this. Fairy tale syndrome is that, you will be rescued. You will be rescued by your perfect ideal mate, man. Not only that, will he ride up, in a limo, white horse, symbolizing purity and truth, to rescue you from your asleep because you bit the poison apple and went to sleep. And then you're going to live happily ever after and ride off into the sunset. He said you should propose some questions to your critical thinking mind. Who is this man? Did you do a background check on this person? Does he actually own the horse or the limo? Does he really stand for truth? What are his beliefs? Where is the sunset? And where does the sunset end? Does he have a home? Does he have his own home? Does he have parents? Does he have a job? Will you have to leave everything behind and never be able to return? Will you be abused? Will you be human trafficked? Will you? And I see this a lot, this fiction playing out, that something outside of people will save them. And I see this a lot in Christianity, and knowing I spent my early childhood in Pentecostal church. My grandmother was a renowned prophet and exorcist. But I also, her mother, my great-grandmother, was a medicine woman. So there was a little bit, even back then, a little bit of conflicting belief systems, and where does it all fit in? And can I bridge it? Bridget is my name. Can I bridge it? How do I bridge it? Is it bridgeable? Do I build a bridge? Do I take the bridge down? I had to take my coat off. I'm sitting in the sun. It's a little warm. So we are waiting for something or someone to save us. And we really believe that we all are entitled to this, right? It's an entitlement. And then there's clear in most, religions and other things that, it's you. It's you that has to step forward. It's you that has to fight. It's you that has to figure out where you're at in it and what kind of steps. The other thing about this is that we are willing to surrender our law, our justice, our thinking, our feeling to someone else, especially if we can pay them to do it. But yet we're never really satisfied with the outcome, because it's done in our behalf, and we've on some level sold ourselves out to something else or someone else, instead of taking wholehearted responsibility, which means adapting our mind, adapting our feelings, grabbing the bull with both horns, and, battling it out with blood, sweat, and tears. Because this is how you figure out who you are and what you are. And even in the Bible, it says in the red section, yes, I've read the Bible. I've read a lot of other types of spiritual and religious texts. That's why I have a degree in theology. And I was ordained myself in 1996 at a very young age. Part of the journey of figuring it out. But in the Bible it says, in the section that's read, that supposedly is Jesus talking, he says, or somebody said, that to continue to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And I've taken those words quite literally. If I'm afraid of something, I want to run, I want to back off, I want to whatever, I know that I have to confront it, and I have to stand up to it, and I have to get her done. Even if it breaks me. And sometimes that nervous breakdown is about the perception that you need to break down, because it's your perception of the world that you're living in and the records in your head that were placed in your head from an early age, determining your belief systems and how you would passively navigate this world and think that somebody should play it out in your benefit, when part of it is you learning how to stand up, set boundaries, be in discovery, exploration, experience, good, bad, or indifferent, to build your psychological framework. And one thing that I really love about ancient shamanism that I've been involved in and practiced and had many amazing teachers is that they really focus in on critical thinking. Being able to ask questions about your reality, not just accept it for what it is. And if you don't like it, try to pray it away or pray something else into existence that's more comfortable. Because it's about the shamanic death. It's about the constant death of the old self, the old beliefs, and into the new. The resurrecting into the awareness and the knowledge, which can only be discovered and experienced by the individual. So I just kind of want to talk about that. And my oranges. So, fairy tale syndrome. Getting out of our fairy tale syndrome and back into a world where we use our critical thinking to analyze, to understand, to feel. Part of critical thinking is about feeling discomfort and also elation. So, yeah, there's that. All right, guys, I'm off to see the wizard. Click, click. Have a great day.